Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Bukit Batok Secondary School Open House. We hope that after this, you'll understand why BBSS is the perfect place for your child to prepare for their future. Hi, I'm pretty sure that some of the children here have already seen me from our school ambassador outreach visits to your primary schools. I had a great time there, and it's great to see you here again. Before we begin, please kindly make sure that your mobile devices are turned off. We will first begin with a short presentation by our BBSS principal, Mrs. Shirley Lee, after which there will be a Q&A session for you with Mrs. Lee, Vice Principals, Mr. Cheng and Madam Chia, Ms. Janice Lim, our Assistant Year Head for the lower sec cohort, and Mr. Lee Kok Leong, Subject Head of PE and CCA, as well as our student leaders. Now, we will invite Principal Mrs. Lee to speak about life in BBSS. Mrs. Lee, please.
Thank you, Nicole. Very good morning, parents and students. A very warm welcome to BBSS. Thank you for choosing to spend the early part of Saturday morning with us. We are so happy to see you here. Maybe before we begin, I'm just going to introduce a little bit about myself so you know who is the principal that's leading this school. So my name is Shirley. I'm very happy to be here. Before joining BBSS, I have been to 5 schools, and this is my 5th school, as well as MOE HQ. I have been in the education service for over 20 years, and I have over 10 years in school leadership. Okay, I am also a mummy of 2 children. Okay, my kids haven't reached the primary 6 stage yet. Okay, so they are P3 and P5. So I know what parents go through in terms of, really taking care of the children's development and their well-being. Okay, so maybe before we begin, a round of applause to all the parents here. Okay, congratulations. If you are a P6 parent, okay, especially congratulations on finishing a very important milestone in your child's life. So for those of us who are parents, right, especially if you have more than one child, like for my case, you will know that no 2 children are the same. Even if you only have one child, maybe you grew up with siblings, okay, or cousins, and you will know that even though it's in the same household, same home environment, same pair of parents' DNA, the 2 kids can be very different, right? That only points to the fact that every child truly is different. They have different strengths, they have different needs, right? They have different personalities, learning styles, and preferences. This is what strongly ties to the core of our education belief in BBSS. So here, this is our school's education philosophy, which is we believe that every child is unique and has innate abilities to be developed, right? And the analogy that we like to use is that of the apple. So I don't know how many of you have known this interesting fact. Okay, if not today, you go home, right? When you cut fruits, you can try. Okay, so you take an apple, you don't cut it the normal way, you slice it across. What will you always find in the middle of an apple? Anybody knows? A star, right? An apple always have a 5-chamber star. That's the makeup of an apple, right? And that's a beautiful analogy to say that, if our kids are the apple of our eyes, there's a star inside all of them. But when you cut the apple, it depends on, the species, right? How ripe it is, and so on and so forth. You find that every star looks a little bit different, and some are not very well formed yet. You can see roughly the chambers lah, okay? But you may not see so beautiful like in this picture, right? So we use this analogy in school as well, right? All of us understand that in every student there is a star. They have their own strengths. And your kids here, they have their strengths, and you know that. Okay, and our teachers are here, right, to provide that customized education, to understand that each child is unique and different, and they have their abilities, which we want to develop. Okay, so this underpins BBSS education philosophy. Our school's mission is to develop self-directed learners with an abundance mentality. I love the school's mission because in Singapore, very often, many people, many of us have to hustle, compete, right? And we operate out of a scarcity mindset, right? In school, we want to teach our kids that they are not just there to receive. They have the agency, the responsibility, the autonomy, and the power, right, to be self-directed in their learning. And as a parent, actually, this is all what parents want, right? The difference when the child finally decides, I want this for myself and starts learning, is so different from when you have to breathe down the child's neck to do your homework, do your homework, do your homework. Okay, so in schools, through our different programs, we have opportunities. We specifically and intentionally teach them skills so that they can be self-directed learners. But not just self-directed learners, but someone with an abundance mentality. What does that mean? In our school, we help to unpack the definition of abundance mentality as that of caring, sharing, and giving. That means we will always tell our BBSS students, right? We do this together as a learning community, right? We do this together and we put in our best for the good of the community, not just for myself. So this is the school's mission, and that's what your child will hear for the next 4 years. This is our school's motto. It's simply 3 words. Be our best. And it's not do your best, which is like get the A. It is be our best. Every word has weight. Be means our being, right? So the kids' key t-shirts will have our school mottos at the back. It will say be our best. They will be constantly reminded that this is what, right, we teach in the school. Our, meaning community. A lot of our kids are in our school colors, which is red and gold, very auspicious school colors, right? Red stands for community. Because in BBSS, we are a very special school. And if you live in the Bukit Batok area, right, or neighboring area, you will know that the school has a very long and good reputation in the community. Because we are the school that is built when the township was built. So we are the school that's built for the township, and we carry the town's name, Bukit Batok Secondary School. So when the kids go through the education here, we also lead them to understand what it means to be in this community, hence our. And best is not just acing their studies, right? Or even their competitions when you go for CCAs. Best is their whole being, right? Including, right, what kind of relationships they have with their family members, right? How are their peer relationship with friends, right? We want to broaden the definition of success, of best for our students. So that's our school's motto. Okay, so right now, I think, especially if you're a P6 parent, you'll be wondering, how do I choose my child's secondary school? Okay, so may I suggest, these are some things which you can look for. First one is really, what is your child's personality, strengths, and interest? Right, and when you visit the schools for the open house, when you look at their programs, get a feel of the school culture, the energy, okay? Do you think that it is the place where your child will thrive? The academic fit, right? There are also academic programs that later on my VP and the students will talk about, right? Of course, distance lah, right? Distance matter. You really don't want your child to be spending long distance every day just on the commute, which can be very tiring. Okay, the subjects, the key programs that are offered by the school, and whether the school has good support, right, for students with different needs. Okay, so with that, I'm going to hand the time to Mr. Alan Ching, who will be the VP. We have 3 VPs. Okay, Mr. Ching is the VP that will oversee next year's secondary 1 cohort and levels, right? Hand the time over to Nicole to introduce. Oh, okay, I'll just introduce Mr. Ching. So Mr. Ching will be the VP that will oversee the Sec 1 cohort, and he will tell you more about the school's program. Mr. Ching, please.
Right, a very good morning to all the parents and hopefully our future Sec 1 BBSS. Okay, I'll start my segment with our school vision, which is to provide a quality, holistic education to all our students. So the word holistic is now a very big word. It includes academic excellence, character building, being lifelong learners, and also competency. Having the competency to do well and thrive in an ever-changing world. Can I share with you 3 signature programs that will allow BBSS to achieve our vision? Okay, the 3 programs I have shown on the screen here. The first one is Habits of Mind, HOM in short, which aims to inculcate learning and thinking dispositions in every student. The second one is our Applied Learning Program, which aims to develop proactive problem solvers. And the last one is actually our Learn for Life program, LP, which focus on community youth leaders, where we develop our youth leaders to be able to lead and to serve the community. Okay, we'll start with HOM, all right? Sorry for the technical difficulties. Okay, basically HOM, we have actually embarked on HOM since 2003. Today, it has become a way of life in BBSS. So what is HOM? It's actually a set of 16 thinking dispositions that allows our students to develop our students to become lifelong learners and equip them with the skills to be able to navigate the challenges of a changing world. Today, HOM is infused in both our instructional program and also the co-curricular areas. Yeah. Okay, I'm showing you 2 examples of how HOM has been infused into the subject areas. First one is in the area of math. I'm sure you all know that in a typical math classroom, the objective is generally to get students to solve a problem. And a lot of real world context problems will place the student to be in a totally new environment, a new situation, which he may never have experienced before. So over here, we actually let students acquire the HOM disposition of applying past knowledge to new situations. In a typical maths classroom, it could be as simple as asking the student, what have you learned? What formulas have you learned that could possibly help you to solve the problem right in front of you? It could be as simple as that. And then we hope that students, by strengthening their understanding of this disposition, they'll be able to realize that whether it's in class or outside of class, many of the issues and problems they face can be solved if they're able to relate to what they already know. Likewise, in a social studies classroom, where students are encouraged to express their diverse views, arguments on a lot of issues that are raised in class, many of these issues may be controversial. Our students are very willing to share their views because all of them have been equipped with the HOM disposition of listening and understanding with empathy. This creates a safe environment where every student dare to voice his opinion, his views, with the understanding that no one is going to judge him. And the students also understand that this disposition does not just apply to the classroom, it also applies to outside of the classroom, where they interact with the students as they appreciate and respect diverse views. We also see HOM dispositions exhibited in our students in their daily interaction, in their daily life with their peers, including, I think recently our minister actually came to school for a school visit, and our student ambassadors actually exhibited HOM dispositions in hosting our minister. Two of the hosts for the day happen to be here with us today, Amelia and Sarah. They'll be sharing more of this later on in the later segment. Now we move on to ALP, Applied Learning Program. Our ALP is in the area of STEM with a focus on city and urban landscape. Why city and urban landscape, you may be asking? Well, because we know that Singapore is actually an urban city. With limited physical and human resources, we are often challenged in terms of planning, development, and sustainability. So our ALP programs actually allows our students from young to be given opportunities to explore solutions to issues they face in their daily life. An example of how we engage the Set 1 this year for the ALP project, in one of the projects, we actually showed them a video of a man in a wheelchair trying to maneuver his wheelchair to get from point A to point B. Then we make use of the design thinking approach, where one of the steps includes the ability to empathize with the end user. This end user is referring to the man in the wheelchair. And get students to think, how would you feel if you're in a wheelchair? What are the challenges you will actually face when you need to get from point A to point B? And through the approach and the process, students are able to come up with innovative ways to make the environment more inclusive and accessible to those who are less fortunate around us. We also have our LLP program, which is basically focusing on community youth leadership, where our youth leaders acquire leadership skills in terms of the programs such as the Leadership Challenge Workshop and the Youth Leaders Prep course. There's also an overseas component where they get to go overseas on a learning journey, where they test themselves and acquire new skills in a foreign environment. And again, the HOM disposition of remaining open to continuous learning is strengthened in this aspect. Now, our LLP also focus extensively on the word community. And our youth leaders are very active in community project. One of the community projects includes Project I Donate. This is basically a carnival where our youth leaders plan, design, and implement the entire carnival on their own. This year, the objective was to raise funds for SPCA, and we were able to carry this out. If you want your child to be self-directed with an abundance mentality, this is definitely one project that you want them to be involved in. On to CCAs. CCAs perform the core role of providing an alternate environment from the conventional classrooms where our students can acquire and strengthen skills and values. At BBSS, we offer a total of 18 CCAs spread across these 4 categories that caters to the diverse interests of our students. Of notable mention, perhaps, will be the outcomes or the results of our sports CCA, which includes our B Division girls softball team, who came in top 4 for the National School Games, and also our boys rugby team, who emerged as champion in the B Division Rugby National School Games. And I'm going to end my segment with a reminder of our school philosophy. Our school philosophy states, we believe that every student is unique and have innate abilities that can be developed. Entrust your child with us, and we promise you that we'll do our best to ensure that through the activities and programs we have in place, we will be able to develop your child to reach his full potential. With that, I end my segment. Back to the MC. Thanks.
Thank you. Now, we will invite our Secondary 3 Student League Council leaders to share some of their experiences during BBSS.
Good morning, everyone. I am Ho Amelia from Class 3A5, President of the 6th Student Council.
Testing. And I'm Sarah Kundu from 3A5, Senior Counselor for Outreach in the 6th Student Council. We are here to share more about our lives as BBSians.
My journey started in 2022 when I was just a Secondary 1 student. The chance to represent my show CA at the Unique Voice concert at the Arts House. In Secondary 2, I participated in the multi-level activity, MLA Camp, at the Surimbun Scout Camp, which allowed me to further strengthen my bonds with my classmates. Later on in Secondary 3, I was then offered the opportunity to step up as the overall in charge of the 2024 Sec 1 orientation, allowing me to step out of my comfort zone, further sharpening my leadership skills. As a member of our BBSS show choir, I have a passion for music and truly enjoy performing as I'm able to express myself. I have learned to push myself through long training sessions, and now my willpower is definitely stronger. When challenges arise, I maintain a positive mindset, viewing them as opportunities that help to further nurture myself. I have come to strongly believe that everything happens for a reason and that setbacks are what help me to learn and become better versions of myself. From all the trainings and performances, I have built endurance and confidence. And honestly, these were the values that helped motivate me to run as the president of the Student Council. Throughout my 3 years here as a BBSS student, there were many opportunities presented to me, each allowing me to step out of my comfort zone. As I expanded my horizons and applied my past knowledge to new situations, I grew in character by tapping on past experiences, enabling me to emerge as stronger versions of myself each time. Before I was elected as the president of the Student Council, I had already gained much experience as a student councilor. I was barely into Sec 3 when I became the overall in charge of this year's Sec 1 orientation. And honestly, initially, I was really afraid as it was my first time leading a new group of student counselors, and all of us had different leadership styles. However, I quickly learned and came to realize that it was our unique qualities that helped to power the team as we relied on each of our strengths. And now, as I lead my current executive committee, EXCO, throughout this leadership term, I realized the true strength of shared experiences. As all leaders pool our goals and beliefs, we're able to foster teamwork and friendship amongst ourselves, while at the same time empowering those around us to lead and serve. And now, looking back, I think that I've definitely grown so much as a leader, as now I am a leader who constantly seeks opportunities to further develop, and I'm also a leader who wishes to inspire those around me to lead and serve with a passionate heart. I hope that shared here inspires you because my 3 years here as a BBSS student has definitely been a very inspiring journey for me. Now, I'll pass the time over to Sarah for her to tell her very own story.
Thank you, Amelia. While Amelia has shared about her development as a leader, I'm here to share more about my personal growth as a student, focusing on three main aspects: my interests, my passions, and my growth. Here's a glimpse of some highlights as a Sec 1 in 2022 to a Sec 3 in 2024. From my interest in cooking to my passion for writing and my development in public speaking, these experiences have been integral in building who I am today. Here are some of the recipes I've made through the unique Student Initiated Learning Program, SIL. Through this program, I was encouraged to rediscover and learn something new. With my interest in culinary arts, I've delved further into understanding what each and every element is and how it works, and how it is crucial for me to consume them so I can grow stronger. After all, a healthy body and a healthy mind is important for students to function well in school. I also have a strong passion for writing. BBSS has helped me develop it to become even better. At the end of my Sec 2 year last December, I took part in a competition hosted by Ministry of Education's Gifted Education Branch, the prestigious Creative Arts Program. It was a tough competition as I had to put in a lot of dedication and determination to write a promising portfolio. To my success, it was a very successful piece of writing, and I was selected as a CAP attendee. Through the program, I learned importance of and different techniques of writing, and now I look forward to publishing my own book next year. As well, here are some photos of the different writing competitions and things I've taken part in. One of the highlights being writing in my own mother tongue for the first time. Taking part in a competition across 4 institutes, I wrote for the first time in my own native mother tongue language, Hindi, and to my surprise, I won second place. Not only BBSS has developed my interests and my passion, but also helped me grow as a person through my public speaking. Through the many opportunities I've gotten since secondary 1, I've been given the stage to perform and to sing, not only to sing, but also to present in front of large audiences. When I performed first time in 2022 was on our BBSS Got Talent stage. And from there, I got even more opportunities, my key highlight being our 38th annual awards ceremony. I both emceed and performed for the event, and this was the most important event for me. I had to learn to think quickly on my feet and adapt to the situations that I experienced. Not only that, from there, I even went further to host a political leader, our minister himself, Minister Chan Chun Sing. This experience was enriching for me as I learned how to apply all the skill sets I have learned as a student and as a leader. Hey Amelia, after presenting to a minister himself, do you think presentations at university or at work would be much of a challenge?
No, not at all. Being able to host and meet the minister himself was truly amazing. In the beginning, I was extremely nervous as it was my first time meeting and hosting such an important guest. However, like Sarah, I was able to tap onto the skill sets that I had learned previously from my ambassador program and history docent training, allowing me to be more confident. I truly did appreciate the opportunity given, further value adding to my holistic development here at BBSS. Thank you.
Now, may we invite our assistant year head, Ms. Janice Lim, to talk about expectations and updates in 2025. Ms. Lim, please.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Okay, so I'm here to talk a little bit about FSBB, something new that was piloted in started in MOE this year. So before I speak further, let's just watch a short video to talk a little bit about what FSBB is.
Meet Tim and Hannah. They have just received their PSLE results and will be entering a secondary school that has implemented full subject-based banding or full SBB. Based on their PSLE scores, P6 students are assigned posting groups or PGs to facilitate their posting to Secondary 1. As a student posted through PG2, Tim will take mainly General 2 or G2 subjects at the start of Secondary 1. Under full SBB, he may also take some subjects at a more demanding level, depending on his performance in them at the PSLE. Tim did well in PSLE mathematics and is eligible to take G3 maths. As it's also one of his favourite subjects, he decides to challenge himself and take maths at the G3 level. As for mother tongue language, he qualifies to take it at a less demanding level. Meanwhile, based on her PSLE score, Hannah is posted through PG1. This means she will take mainly G1 subjects, including the new G1 Humanities subject. As a history buff, Hannah is especially excited about the modules in history under G1 Humanities. Tim and Hannah are in the same mixed form class, where they meet for their common curriculum subjects. Here are Tim's subjects and interests. Here are Hannah's. In their mixed form classes, students have opportunities to befriend and learn alongside classmates of different strengths and interests. And since Tim and Hannah take their other subjects with students who are taking the same subject level, they will make new friends there too.
Okay, so anyway, FSBB focuses on our students having a lot of customization and personalization in their learning. Okay, so as I was mentioning, even they come in as PG2, for example, they have an opportunity to take subjects at a more demanding level, in G3. Okay, so all this allows the students to learn, to have a greater ownership of their learning, as well as to have a chance and also to learn how to mingle, to interact with their peers with different strengths and interests. Okay, so going along this pathway of personalization, so I'm going to talk about student-initiated learning, like what just now Sarah mentioned about her interest in cooking. Okay, so what we have here is we have this program where our students are able to come together with their peers to pick anything that they are interested in, and they will learn, this skill or interest, through our different ICT platforms. Okay, and our students will get to capture their learning through this 3 self process. So what is this 3 self process that we have? Okay, it's self-managing, self-monitoring, and self-modifying. So these three self process help to ask our students to capture their learning and also to reflect their learning experiences through this platform. Okay, so moving on in terms of ICT, right? So we also have blended learning in BBSS. Okay, so blended learning, one of the platforms that we talk about will be our home-based learning. Okay, so in BBSS, we have our home-based learning as well. Okay, and we term it the Seek, Discover, and Learn Day. Okay, or SDL Day for short. So this home-based learning or SDL Day, they are actually quite regularly spread throughout the entire academic year. Okay, so this, hold on, okay, so all this is part of also the MOE EdTech Master Plan, okay, to prepare our students to be, to perform or to be in a technology transform world. Okay, and in BBSS, we have these 2 key strategies as well to help our students achieve this vision. Okay, and all of this, we hope to use technology as a capability multiplier to help our students achieve all these objectives of enhanced collaboration. I talk about working with peers of different strengths and interests. Okay, having conducive learning environments as well as learning, something that FSBB and what BBSS we have for our students. Okay, so with that, I will pass the time back to Nicole for the next section.
Thank you, Ms. Lim. In BBSS, we believe that every child is unique and has the ability to be developed. Hence, before we begin our Q&A session, may we invite our Sec 4 leaders, Charles and Linus, to talk about their courageous and fulfilling journey in BBSS. Linus, please.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. I'm Linus, captain of our school's rugby team from 2023 to 2024, and I'll be sharing with you the challenges I faced, how I overcame them with the help of the BBSS community. In 2023, one of the most significant challenges I faced was when I fractured my collarbone during a rugby NSG match. As you can see from the slides on how severe the injury was, I had to undergo surgery which would insert 7 metal screws and 1 metal plate into my collarbone for it to grow back into its natural position. So after the surgery, I felt demoralized and I lost my motivation to do anything since I could not take part in physical activities which I enjoyed for the next 4 months. Furthermore, with the 2 weeks of MC that the doctor gave me, I was concerned that I would fall back on my studies. However, with the steadfast support of the BBSS family, I was able to navigate through this obstacle. My form and subject teachers set up Zoom sessions for me so that I could attend lessons from home. And my classmates were generous in collecting my homework and assignments, and they were willing to answer my questions too. By the end of the year, not only was I able to take part in club tournaments, I was also able to tackle my weaker subject, A-Maths, improving from an F9 at the start of the year to a C5 by the end of the year. And this was in 2023. In 2024, with persistence, hard work, and the guidance from my maths teachers, I was able to get an A1 during my WA1 test, and I hope to continue to make my parents proud in the upcoming release of O-level results in January. Besides succeeding in my academics, I've also excelled in my CCA with the opportunities and guidance given from my CCA teachers. This year, I had the honor to lead our school's rugby team to our very first B Division Rugby NSG Finals, which was played at the National Stadium in front of the whole school. And thankfully, I can say we emerged victorious and we brought back the trophy. And for, thank you. And for a quick fact too, the team that we beat at the finals this year was actually the team that broke my collarbone last year. So I did get some sort of revenge back. But that's not the point. The point is, with this experience, the backing of the school gave me the confidence and belief in my abilities to persevere, which shaped me into becoming a stronger and more resilient student. With that, I've come to the end of my sharing and I'll be passing the time to Charles. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Charles, Head of Events of the Student Council's 5th Exco. This slide over here highlights my key leadership appointments in my secondary school journey. Starting early on in Sec 1, I was already appointed as a class vice president, a leadership position. And this opportunity is very unique to BBSS, where all its students are given the chance to lead as long as they are willing to. And it is not based on age, but willingness. And further on in my secondary school life, in 2023, when I was a Sec 3 student, I was hesitant to take on any more leadership roles because just like any other student, I wanted to focus on my academics. However, with the support of my teachers, my seniors, and my friends, I was able to push myself and challenge myself to take on even more leadership positions because I knew that I could grow even more than I already was. And in 2023, later on in the year, I was given the chance to go to Taiwan as part of the Youth Leader Stretch program as shared by Mr. Cheng. In this program, I was put with students that I was unfamiliar with, and I challenged myself to learn how to work with them and get to know them better. And I'm glad to share that after the program, I was able to make friends with almost all of the students in this photo. Taking the skills from being an EXCO member and going to Taiwan with my friends, I was given the chance to lead as the overall in charge of Project I Donate this year, where we partnered with SPCA to run a carnival to raise funds and awareness against animal cruelty. And I am proud to share that I was able to lead a group of leaders, very impressive leaders. For example, Benjamin, who has been given the chance to lead in his CCA since he was just a Sec 1 student and became the president of his CCA in Sec 3. And through this program, I'm also glad to share that we raised $3,000 for SPCA and awareness against animal cruelty. Apart from raising money and awareness, I'm proud to share that I was able to make everyone in this group closer to one another, able to work and help everyone grow as a leader. And there's no better feeling as a student leader than to be able to give back to the same community that has given me so many opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles and Linus. Please find here the PSLE indicative AL score for BBSS 2023 and 2024. We will now begin our Q&A session. May we invite our panelists back up. Principal Mrs. Lee, Vice Principals Madam Chia and Mr. Cheng, Assistant Year Head Ms. Lim, Subject Head of CCA and PE Mr. Lee, and lastly our student leaders Sarah, Amelia, Charles, and Linus. If you have any questions, do raise your hand and our MCs will come to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for staying the whole presentation. Feel free to raise your hands and we will come over with the mic. Also, feel free to direct your questions directly to the students, and you can hear it from the horse's mouth in terms of their experience here in the school.
So this is for the two who initially gave the presentation. Everything looks good, fantastic journey. What was your most frustrating part of school?
I think for me personally, the most frustrating part of school would be managing all the things I have. For example, just now you've heard that I have a lot of commitments, be it CCA and SC, but at the same time, I also have to manage my academics like every student. I think in the beginning, it definitely was difficult because transitioning from so many commitments and to totally new subjects, because in Sec 3 we have to choose our new combis, right? I think it was a really hard transition period for me in the beginning as I wasn't used to one, the subjects that I had to learn, and two, the new people around me. As I've mentioned just now, in the executive committee, I had to work with new people with different backgrounds, and it definitely was hard to adjust to the very new things. But then again, I was really grateful for all the support that I had from the BBSS community, not just the teachers, not just my friends who were there for me when I had hard times, but also the teachers who provided me with support, be it during SC or in school when I was having problems with my schoolwork, I could always arrange consultations with them to catch up. And in SC, if I felt like it was really overwhelming, I could always confide in my teachers. So I was really, really grateful for all the support that I had from the BBSS community. Thank you.
To answer your question, the most frustrating part of school for me would be waking up early for school. And that was for the very first year in Sec 1 when school started at 7:30. So for me, I genuinely enjoy school, all the lessons, all the challenges I face. So when I had to wake up early in the first year, Sec 1, to wake up at 7:30 to not wake up at 7:30, but wake up even earlier to reach school by 7:30, it was a challenge for me at first. Because even though I had woken up like earlier in primary school, I hated waking up in the morning. I like to sleep in. I'm a night owl. So when it came to Sec 2, when our students suggested to the school to make school timings later, I feel that that was the best move ever because now I can report to school at even a bit later, like the 20 minutes later, and I can still enjoy that extra few minutes of sleep, which I most certainly enjoy the most. So I feel that all of our concerns in school is really addressed very well, and that's why I genuinely really enjoy the school experience here.
Okay, so in case you're curious, school starts at 7:50. Our school starts at 7:50, a little bit later, right, than most secondary schools. Hopefully, kids can get a bit more shut eye or, wake up a bit more before coming to school. Yeah. Any other questions? Or students? Any brave soul would like to ask a question? P5, P6s?
Sorry, I have a question because my son, he has a selection between PG1 and PG2. So he's at the borderline, right? So I saw that students can take maybe PG2, and then after that on a weaker subject he can take at G1 level and so forth. So now we are at this juncture where do we select at PG2 or PG1 to be able to enter? Because he's really at the borderline.
Okay, thank you for it's a very good question. Maybe I'll just take that question and also kind of talk about how the cutoff points work. Okay, so I think many of you would have done your research, but generally primary school parents going into secondary school, this is still a whole new ball game. Okay, so I just kind of repeat maybe what some of you already know. How does the cutoff point work? Just now, Nicole mentioned that these are indicative cutoff points, right? It's because these were based on that cohort's demand and supply. So it is a fully open system, and we do not know how the cutoff points will move every year. It really depends on the parents' choices for that year. So if for two reasons, let's say everybody in this PSLE cohort did better, because it's marked by standards, right? So maybe as a whole nation, this batch, everybody did better. It means that there will be more students with a lower COP, lower AL score in total. And then schools may actually see a shift in their cutoff points moving downwards. So our cutoff point may move downwards if that's the case. The second scenario is if there's greater demand than there is supply. So schools are assigned vacancies by MOE HQ, right? The number of classes are fixed already. right? And we know the number of classes that we will be getting. When you make all your choices by Tuesday, right? I think it's by Tuesday, yes. When you make your choices, these will go into MOE HQ system, and then they will then start to filter. So for example, if our school's cutoff point for G2 is 21, right? If it is 21 to 23, right? 21, 22, 23 for G2. So the cutoff point is essentially 23 for G2 students, 15 for G3 students. So as an example, okay? That means that on cutoff point, there will already be a ballot. So I repeat myself, that means all the students, right, that scored 15, or all the students that scored 23 who apply for BBSS, right, maybe as their first choice even, okay, there will already be a ballot because it cannot be so exact that, every student that gets 15 or 23, right, will get into the school. Right, so this is the same for all schools. So if you are choosing a school on cutoff point, just be aware that there could be still a situation that even putting it as first choice, right, at the school's indicative cutoff point, assuming that it does not move, there may still be a ballot. Right, so that's kind of how it works as a system. So then you will go into your second and third choices. So that is about the importance of the choice of schools. Your first to six choices are very important. Do take a look at the indicative cutoff point, visit the schools, and make good choices. In terms of the second question, which is then if I am in between two posting groups, how do I make a decision? So at the end of the day, right, you have to first look at the actual AL score of the child. How confident do you think the child will be in terms of getting in the school of your choice, right? And then you make the decision whether you want to choose the posting group. In terms of the porosity of the system, yes, your children will be offered the subjects by their strengths. So you can see a child being offered subjects at G1, G2, G3 level. Are you familiar with all these? Okay, that's the equivalent for parents. Last time our Express, NA, NT streams. Okay, now we have termed them as G1, G2, and G3. So depending on your child's performance for the individual subjects at PSLE, they will be offered, they may be offered streams. They may say, for example, come in at PG1, right? Or posting group 1. Posting group 1 or posting group 2, they may still be offered subjects at a more demanding level that will be customized for their learning. Okay. Okay, so I hope I answered your question. If you have further questions, you can ask. Yes.
Thank you, Mrs. Lee. Just hypothetically speaking, based on the cutoff point of 11 to 15, if a child has attained 16, for example, and she decides to choose Bukit Batok, how will the system work based on that kind of scenario?
Thank you. So sometimes this is what I call I mean, this is an individual parent's choice, right? So if you were to choose the first choice aspirational, that means, I mean, you look at the school's cutoff point, right? 2 years ago, it was 16. Last year, it was 15. So the school's cutoff point has a trend of lowering. Maybe it could be because that there are more students choosing the school, but year on year, that might shift. So 16, I still want to try, okay? Just know that that is a risk that you are taking, right? Because if you don't choose a very sure choice for the first one, if the school's cutoff remain at 15, there's no way that you will be able to get into the school with 16, and the system doesn't make any exceptions. So even with appeals across all schools in Singapore, you will find that they will not consider any student that doesn't meet the school's final cutoff point, even subsequently for the rest of the year, mid-year you appeal, also cannot. We are not allowed to take any students that do not meet the cutoff point into the school. So that is a MOE policy. Yeah. Question here?
Thank you. Thank you for sharing the story. It's very inspiring. Yeah, just one question for the students, right? What is the one thing that you like the school to do differently? As for the leaders, thanks for sharing all the values. Yeah, just a quick questions. Whether will there be any additional classes to be offered, given that this year is a dragon year? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. So, thinking about that question, for me, I would say that the one thing that I wish could be better or improved or changed is maybe more options in the canteen. So, throughout my 4 years in BBSS, the options have been relatively the same. So, but that's not a bad thing because the food's still good. Okay, the food's still good. So the food's still good. But naturally over 4 years, you want to see something new. So, but I mean, each store has their own efforts to bring in new items over time. But sometimes it's a bit like you'd want to see a completely new store. You know, like you walk into school, wow, that's a new store. Yeah, that kind of feeling. But not looking down on the food because the food, I still love the food here, and it's a reason why I come to school. The food's nice. Thank you.
Okay, to answer the question, to be honest, I'm quite a simple person, so I'm actually satisfied with whatever the school it has now. So, in my opinion, I don't think there's any change that I want because I'm happy. Yeah.
We won't have a new class even if it's dragon year. So our SU enrollment is exactly the same as the current year. Thank you for the question. Any student wants to ask a question? Yes.
Can I ask, what is the JC and poly progression rate? Like, what are the trends?
Okay, so we do not publish the JC figures and progression rates anymore. This is in line with MOE's nudging to kind of release the stress across the whole system. You know, Singapore is very obsessed with numbers. Okay, I have my views on using numbers to make decisions also, because when we look at it, we look at statistics, right? Okay, so I give you an example. This school is 90% of the students go to JC. School B, 70% of the students go to JC. Oh, so by probability, I will choose the 90%. That's how most Singaporeans think, right? But if you think very, very carefully, why will you be so sure that your child will be in the 90% and not the 10%? Just by numbers and probability? Or is the learning disposition, your child's attitude towards learning, how he or she takes in, you know, the whole learning environment, the quality of the school programs? I would say all those matter a lot more because this is not a lottery. Your child is not just a digit. Okay, but to answer that questions, we have very good academic outcomes. We value add a lot to our students' learning. So we have statistics also that tells us what is the expected based on PSLE, what is the expected O-level, N-level outcomes for our students, and we always value add above expectations. Right. Okay. Thank you for the brave student who asked the question. Yes.
Thank you for the sharing and informative insight. Just one question that just now that you mentioned about the number of or the quota of this number of students to be taking in for each of the groups. So could you share with us that roughly around the number of figures and how many students you take in for the respective group that we met that display just now from group 3 to group 1?
The numbers, I don't have it with me, but it's roughly, okay. Firstly, all the Sec 1 students' form classes will be fully mixed, okay, because it is a full SBB school, right? So the whole nation is on full SBB. So in a form class, you will experience diversity, which is a great thing. Okay, students really come into school with no labels. Anyway, even if I come in through a posting group, you may see that the child, oh, maybe subject A is a 6, subject B is a 2, subject 3, and so on. So every child's learning strengths are different, and we don't want to put labels on the students anymore, right? So I have to make that point upfront. Okay, so we do have quotas for our different posting groups, which I will not be sharing, but it does not deviate very much from what Bukit Batok has traditionally been getting when it was the old system where they had express, NA, and NT students. Okay, so it follows the same ratio, right? But I think the difference now with our new FSBB system is that in their form classes, the 3 posting groups will be mixed, okay, fully mixed across all the classes.
Thank you for your question. So for the first question, how many form classes, right? Form teachers, right? So as for 2023 and 2024, so 2024, we have 7 form classes, each class with 2 form teachers each. So there'll be 14 of the Sec 1 team plus 1 year head. Okay, and your second question is regarding the SEN support, right? So we have a senior special needs officer in our school. So she does see some SEN students based on needs and as well on a regular basis up to for her to decide because all these cases are case by case basis. It's not up for us to also determine how many times she see the students per week or per month or what. Yeah. So all this is really up to her and also the cases that each case how it looks like. Your last question is regarding the whether will they be in the same form class, right? So for now, okay, they will be in the same form class in Sec 1, Sec 2. Then Sec 3, because they may be they will be taking up new subjects, right, depending on their different subject offerings. We also got to see as well about timetable and everything. So as for now, Sec 1, Sec 2, they're in the same form class. Sec 3, Sec 4, most likely they will change. Yeah, thank you for your question.
Okay, how risky is this CCA? I believe that not just this CCA, but every sport has its risk, right? It's just, but yeah, every sport has risk, but I can confidently say that our CCA, we have qualified coaches that can coach the new players or an experienced players. So you don't really need any experience, but we will teach you all the right techniques to minimize the risk of injury. But I wouldn't say that it's 100% like injury free. There's always an injury risk. Yeah. But we do our best to minimize it. Yeah.
So I think I would like to add, right, for most sports CCAs, right, we know that, there's of course the full season, our national school games. But prior to that, the pre-season, the students will actually be doing their pre-conditioning, right? Their strength conditioning, their theory, the gym work and so on. So that actually makes up the pre-season. So that one is important also. So we don't just go in and, throw them onto the field, right? Safety, of course, comes first, and then we look at the progressive, right? Develop them. And one thing I see over the years is that, this part of pre-conditioning, right? This the upper sec, the B boys or B girls, they actually set a very good example. Yeah. And I think, yeah, so your child will benefit from this. Yeah. So before we put them onto the field for competition.
Good morning. Can I clarify if we have a good 3, in good 3, can we choose group 2?
So I think if there are certain scores, AL scores, that are only group 3. If you are not in the range where so I think it's, if you're not wrong, 19 and below, right? It's okay. So 19 and below, it's only posting group 3. Yeah, you cannot choose posting group 2. Then there is the, if I'm not wrong, 20 and 21, right? But basically you will know lah in your result slip, right? So if it does not state that you have a choice of 2 posting group, then the answer is cannot. Yeah, you only can choose posting group 3 if you have a certain cutoff point and below.
Okay, actually, my question is about the school virtual school tour on the website of the school, right? The first question is, are all those videos taken by the students? If yes, then the next question would be, why is BBSS choosing those videos taken by the students, not the professionals like the other schools?
Realize that people are moving off, so we'll take this last question and then we will call it a day. If you want, you can stay back to ask us further questions, okay? So thank you, parents, for coming. Continue to enjoy the open house. Yeah. Anybody?
Hi. So for the video, right? So we value a lot of student choice. So for all this, I mean, we like our students. So these are actually taken in-house by our media club. So the students are trained by either by the trainers or by teachers to take the videos. And then of course with pride, we choose these videos and we put them up on the school website. So all this is really all students' work, and the students, I mean, from the videos you can see how proud the students are of their school. Yeah. So I think this is something that our school value a lot, which is the student pride in their work. Yeah. So to answer your question, student videos, but I think by with help of the trainers as well. Yeah, but all these are all students' work. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe I just add, our school's motto is be our best, and we have this vision of getting our students to be self-directed learners. And so through these students in the media club, where they are given the opportunity and very encouraged to basically take videos on it. The more specialized skills of editing and all that, of course, they have their trainers to do that. Actually, we have our in-house trainer, Mr. Elfie is there. Yes, very well trained, and he does work very closely with the students. So since we already have an in-house trainer, we want to tap that expertise so that, you know, our students will be able to learn better. Yeah.
Sorry, it took me quite a while to understand your question. Now I understand what you're asking. So actually to add on, right, is because those videos need time and effort. We actually make use of CCA sessions. So it's not a 1-2 week thing. It took quite a while, a few months effort. That's why. Yeah, so it's mostly students' work, of course, guided by the these professionals. So as to say, our own in-house trainer. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for all the questions. We have come to the end of this session. If you still have any other questions, do feel free to stay behind and talk to any of our school leaders or key personnel. If you would like to engage with one of our school ambassadors at the foyer for a guided school tour, and do note that it's a scavenger hunt. So do interact with our ambassadors and make sure to have fun as well.
Thank you, parents and students. Thank you very much.
For the students here, if you are planning to join BBSS and you see us next year, do look out for these ambassador bands on our wrist, and do approach us if you have any questions in 2025. Thank you and see you next year. Thank you.